Well, good morning, everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, ZMH286, Patricia and David. We broadcast from just north of Auckland at a place called Gulf Harbour, believe it or not. And today we have a very calm day, 14 degrees. The barometer, we've got this lovely anticyclone over us, 1022.9, steady bar, 2 knots of wind at the moment. It's sort of from the east-northeast. And we have 80% cloud cover. Yesterday we had a absolutely glorious sunny warm day, 18 degrees. We forgot all about the misery of clouds and drizzle and stuff that we've had for the past, I don't know how long, it seems forever, but yesterday made up for it. It was absolutely glorious. Doesn't look as if it's going to burn off today, and the weather is coming, but we did make use of yesterday, so that was good. All right, we have a few people have actually arrived at their destinations. I don't think there's too many people on the go at the moment, so New Caledonia is not looking very good for those that arrive, but I'm sure it will get better. I'll just do a pause to see if there's anybody with anything urgent. Nothing heard. I had a terrible job trying to find news of interest for the fleet this morning. It's all sort of, I don't know, as David reminded me, if it bleeds, it leads, and there's all sorts of horrible news in the papers. There was a big riot in a town or city, Chemnitz, I think it was, in eastern Germany. There's a growing movement in Germany because of the influx of Syrian and Iraqi and various other Muslim countries, and they are starting to get very irritated by the violence that it's bringing. A man was killed by an Iraqi and Syrian refugee after a fight, and they had a huge rally, and that prompted more problems in the city, trying to get their city back, as they said. But yeah, it's just difficult to find news that's of a reasonable interest. That is not that type of thing, blood and guts. I even went to the Marlborough News. I hope Heatwave are listening. Now, I know that you folk from the South Island are probably missing news from there, but boy, it's just a lovely, peaceful place to live. There's not an awful lot that I can talk about. But there is a new wine has come out, a vegan wine. Now, you will think, well, why on earth isn't all wine vegan? But it relates to the fining agents that they use, and a winery down there, Scott Wineries, now have a vegan wine. If you are very, very particular about being vegan, they don't say what the fining agent is, but it's not egg, milk or gelatin based. So if you're fussy, you can look for Scott Wines when you get here. Gee, they're not bad wines. McDonald's in Europe have a vegan burger, and Domino's here have a vegan pizza. So you can even get fast food if you're a vegan. It takes a bit of finding, I think. Moving on to more South Island news, the Blenheim town centre is very, very empty of people. Everybody goes back to their lovely properties at the end of the day, but they do have a housing shortage. So there is a call to make apartments in the empty spaces on the first floor above the shops. Oh, I should describe the first floor in New Zealand may or may not be the ground floor. It tends to be the first floor. So if you are meeting somebody, you foreigners that come here on the first floor, and believe you me, you're welcome in New Zealand, don't have to worry about that. On the first floor or the one above the ground floor, they want to build some apartments. The Bay of Islands is in worse strife. Russell and Pahia, those of you that come into the Bay of Islands, they are sort of tourist towns, really. They used to have some interesting shops, but now they're all just sort of restaurants and touristy type things. But they have a major shortage of accommodation for the seasonal workers that come. A lot of people come to be waitresses and people that work in hotels and restaurants and the stuff, making beds and doing all the jobs that they can't find anyone else to do. But there is just no accommodation. So there's an idea for you. You could moor your boat there and take off and rented out to people who want seasonal accommodation. I don't think I'd trust my boat to that, but anyway, that's an idea. What else have we got here? I can't even read my own writing. Oh, that's right. There's been some beautiful southern lights, auroras over the South Island as far north as Wellington. Just absolutely gorgeous, and some lovely pictures in the paper. And talking about back to Blenheim again, I hope you're listening, Heatwave. Brancott Estate Winery. It's a Marlborough-based winery, but it's actually owned by Pernod Ricard. They have been chosen as the Team New Zealand Wine sponsorship outfit. So I think, and that's wine, W-I-N-E, not W-H-I-N-E, which there seems to be an awful lot of whining coming from the New Zealand camp, although it seems to have settled down now that they've actually got Auckland Council and ratepayers to come up with what is needed to run the next event. That's about it that I've found. Yes, I know that's not an awful lot, but there you are. What was of interest to me this morning was looking at Pilgrim's report. They are in the Ringgolds in Fiji, and I'd never heard that expression before. It's up to the east of Ranby Island, of Viti there. I think we've sailed past, and Port Fish, I might add, but never stopped. But it actually looks like a really, really good spot. Doesn't even look populated. And up there this morning, it's around 20% cloud cover and 15% from the south, 15 knots from the southeast. And Messatroy, I talked to Diego before, and they've got about 15 to 20 at Vanubalavu and Loma Loma. So there's a bit of wind up there for you guys. Whistler down further at Nananui Cape there, big kite sailing people. They've only got 5 to 10 knots from the southeast. So it looks like it's a pretty mellow, unless you're in between us and Fiji, where that system that's still covering New Caledonia is coming through. It looks quite nice up in the Samoas. So we'll wait and see what David has to say, but apart from Vanuatu and New Cal, it looks a pretty decent day where you are. Is there anybody with anything about anything? Better news from you people would be good, rather than what I've come up with today. I'll stand by.
You've got a weather report.
Good morning, Trevor. Did you say you wanted the weather? I think he did.
He's giving us a forecast.
Oh, he's giving us a forecast. Go ahead.
100% cover. We've had rain for probably about 36 hours. The bottom is 1015. We're very sure that we are, so I can't give you the Western Street, but probably other than North Carolina.
You're still up at Peroni, are you? Over?
Yep.
Good place to shelter in that sort of weather, isn't it? And just have a catch up on sleep after a passage. So, alrighty, we'll put you there. Sheltering in, well, actually you can get out and do a nice walk in the rain. At least it's warm rain. As you heard, it's not too bad here either. Thanks, Trevor.
That muck up there, remember
that muck up? Oh, that's right. Oh, yes, it's it's a pretty mucky walk in there. So yeah, you might want to stay aboard. Okay.
Don't forget
hang on.
the acid.
Oh, the acid in the water up there. Yeah, you better watch your. Don't stay too long, because that copper mine or purification process uses a lot of acid, and it tends to find its way to the water. It's not meant to, but it does find its way to the water. So you might want to be careful about using the water maker, and also the galvanizing on the chain sometimes gets removed. More to the northeast than where you are at the moment, but yeah, just to be a little bit cautious of that. Boats that might be going up that part of Peroni. Anybody else? I'm glad to hear we've got good propagation to New Caledonia. Anybody else? We've got a couple there. Excel from Niue. What's it like in Niue? Over. Wow, it's interesting. I know you've got that different form of radio. My brain stopped, but it's not coming through here well. But it might be that you're just a bit too close for the one peak that we've got at the moment. Trevor, do you hear Felicity on XL very well? Over.
Not a lot well, but faded away. I think they got southeast at 15 knots, and I was making a cup of tea, so I wasn't really concentrating.
Yeah, I was just interested to know whether anyone's picking up a stronger signal than we are, but it's just not great, Felicity and Mike, but sounds like, where is Louis on your satellite picture there? Oh, yep, it looks pretty decent over there, so not too much, but a cloud passing by in southeast of 15, so thank you for that. There was somebody in behind XL. Who was that? Oh, I think that was Outside. I haven't heard you for an awful long time. Outsider, quite a light signal. Whereabouts are you? Over. Good morning to you in Luganville. Yeah, I see there's a few boats have arrived in Luganville back from Ambrin and the big festival. And unfortunately, folks, the folk that walked all the way up to the top of the caldera didn't get to see it because of the mist or fog or whatever it was that was there. It's a real shame because it's a spectacular sight. But I did put some photos onto the YIT forum, so if you want to know what it looks like, you'll have to have a look at that. So a pretty light signal from Luganville, but good to know that all is well there and pretty reasonable conditions up there. So dropping away from you, so it should improve. Well, I shouldn't say that. That's breaking into David's job, but it might improve as the day goes by because it's moving southeast. Okay, I'll get growled at in a minute, so I think I'll leave that to him. Anybody else before I pass the microphone? Well, we might as well get on to it. I've got a big day today, heading back into the city to pick up my car. I'll be sitting down when I write the check for it. Boy, I'll tell you what, you don't want to have to replace power steering too often in a car. So that's going to be a big deal for me today, and I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully the weather will be good, because usually when you have a car into service, they polish it all up and it comes out looking pretty neat. So there's no rain forecast today, so that will be good. And we won't get lost going in because we're going to take the ferry today. That will save driving around in ever decreasing circles. All right, it's near the 1:30 mark, and we'll and Diego has just told me that Fiji Net is still down, so you won't be getting anything out of Fiji Net again today. That's a long time that there is no products coming out of Fiji, so you're going to have to listen to David. Here he is.
Yep, and well, Patricia, she's getting new tires. Yes, I told you that. So we're going to be on the track again next week. So she's looking forward to wearing them out. Anyway, good morning, and not much change at 500 millibar except the shortwave trough in the Tasman has now closed off, and everybody knows what that means now. It's we've got circular iso heights at altitude. Now the 500 ridge axis is roughly over the dateline, so that's shifted just a little bit. Now looking at the jet stream, it's running west to east. It's the center of it, the axis of it, is about 25 south, and it is tearing along at 150 knots, 150. And you'll find the jet at around 250 millibar if you're looking at your charts, and that's currently today at about 35,000 feet. So under the close low is our Tasman surface depression. It's about halfway to New Zealand with two fronts that are pushing north, like yesterday. The surface high that was over New Zealand that Trish was talking about is now just to the east. We still have the edges of the high over us, but it is leaving us. off to the east. The central pressure is about 1026, 1026 millibars. So a medium pressure high, sitting there, but moving off. Now the fronts that I talked about have linked up with the trough that's over New Caledonia, and that's the reason for the continuing crummy weather up there. Cloud on the trough is rising, and it's being whisked away to the east-southeast by the jet stream. So that's providing very, very good venting to keep this trough going. Now by dinner today, the Tasman Depression looks to have a central pressure of about 985 millibar. And one of the cold fronts is just about to make landfall over New Zealand. Dinner tonight, early tomorrow. It's going to extend north. It has extended north, and it will affect the Loyalties and Vanuatu. Now the front is going to affect Fiji probably early Friday morning for those of you in Fiji, maybe even Thursday night, and over Tonga late on Friday, possibly early Saturday morning, but in that time frame. So get some things done, I guess, before that shows up. Back to the Nukal and Vanuatu chain. It looks like, believe it or not, a tiny little tropical depression forms just to the north of the Loyalties. I could see it. I could see cyclonic circulation there now. And the models are actually calling for low to form a little bit later today, toward midnight perhaps. Now EC, the model ECMWF, is picking up just one closed isobar, but nevertheless it is technically a tropical cyclone. But it goes away Wednesday morning, so it doesn't last very long for the moment. Now that area at that point will have a forward dip in the isobars, and that will help to maintain the trough / cold front that's going through. The worst of it is going to be over Vanuatu by lunch on Wednesday. Then late Wednesday, that little low that we talked about, it pops up again, doesn't go away. However it's moved, it's going to be southwest of Venetian, and it will start to build again. It will become a subtropical low and continues to build Thursday, probably Friday, and further, but it tracks south-southeast, so it's not going to affect you up in the islands. So that's all you care about, I'm sure. Okay, over to Tonga now, where imagery and the actual reports are showing cloudy to partly cloudy skies, depending upon where you are. The winds for Vavau this morning were quite light, maybe about 5 knots, 81% humidity, and the barometer was 1017.7. And the Hapais had southeast 10, the barometer 1018.5, and Tongatapu southeast 6, barometer 1020. Now Tongatapu is actually on the northern edge of that active trough. This is the one that's way over in New Caledonia. So that you can see how long that trough is, and it's just spreading its cloud eastward from there, from New Cal and Vanuatu. Now back to Tonga, wind is going to pick up by lunch, I'd say southeast 15 to 20, and Wednesday southeast in the 20 knot range, and becoming probably easterlies near dinner, and picking up even more. It could be 20 to 25 by dinner. So it looks like the frontal band is going to arrive probably around Saturday, I think, sometime. North to northwest winds will be clashing with southerlies. So there's your directional convergence, and that'll continue to maintain that trough. Fiji Met, as you've reported, and as I have found out, they are still out of action on the internet. You know, we don't really know if they know this. I wouldn't be surprised in my dealings with Fiji Met. They may not have a clue that they're not getting on the internet. Things could be business as usual there. One way to find out is listen to your radio, and if they're giving Met reports, well, you know somebody's still alive in that building there, but if anybody's close to that place, they may want to pop in and say, hello, you know you are not on the internet. Anyway, satellite imagery does show a fair amount of cloud in the central and eastern areas. Looks decent to the west. However, the active trough is just tickling the Kendavu area, in other words, to the south there. So the weather in the south doesn't look so great this morning. The trough in the funnel band, as I said earlier, looked to be over Fiji around Friday time frame, maybe into Saturday. Precursor cloud is going to be coming in, well, I would guess Thursday. You'll start to see it getting cloudier. Wind by lunch today for the group, mostly easterly quadrant, getting up to 20 knots, except for the wind shadow areas we're looking for less. Tomorrow easterlies, but starting to shift east-northeast, and that's the clue that we've got some type of troughing occurring when the wind starts to back like that. That's one of your clues up there in the tropics. Late, well, Wednesday into Thursday, expect northeast winds getting up to about 20 knots. Yeah, late Wednesday into Thursday, I believe that's when that will occur. Vanuatu shows trophic conditions all up and down the chain, although it's nicer to the north. Winds north to northeast, getting up by lunch 15 to 20 in the north, but in the south, very windy. Erromango to Anisham, 20 to 25 knots. It's looking pretty nasty down there to the south. Still trophic conditions tomorrow. Northeast winds clashing with northwest in the 15-knot range in the mean, higher in the gusts. Not so in the south, though. The winds are going to be up 25 to 30 knots and possibly cyclonic, meaning the direction can change quite a bit. And plenty of upper-level venting to encourage all of this. So southern Vanuatu, not so great. And still rain, as we've heard, for New Caledonia. Thank you, Trevor and Jan. And by the way, I appreciate your reports. Continue to send them in. And the way I check the models, in addition to my little microwave satellite, but I rely on you to give me actual conditions. So anyway, by lunch in the lagoon, looking at easterlies about 10 to 15, although Ile de Pan, possibly northerlies getting up to 20. The Loyalty Islands, mostly easterlies, getting up to 30 knots. So they're in that area of cyclonic rotation, and there's lots of rain there. It's a nasty place to be. The lagoon, though, tonight expect northerlies. The rain might be easing a little bit tonight. Tomorrow, easterlies, maybe in the 10-knot range. Scattered showers. The sun's going to try to peek through tomorrow, and on Thursday, we're getting a pretty big shift. Southerlies 10 to 15, partly cloudy, partly sunny. That's on Thursday. Now, long range looks like another trough may show up, but I won't mention that because that's an if. So we'll see what happens there. And that's all I've got for today. Anybody with any questions, comments, or whatever, come down.
Did you have a big retreat?
Sorry.
Did you have a big retreat?
No.
Okay, I don't hear anything. Is there anybody with anything? Otherwise, well, actually we've got rays of sunshine coming through now, so that looks pretty nice. My garden outside my window here does look rather lovely. It's got lots of irises, a very delicate, very, very, very pale, little bit of mauve in the top petals and yellow on the bottom. They look lovely. Anybody with anything? Okay, we're off. Not that we're off to read the paper because there's not much in it. So we'll be back again tomorrow and hope you have a very good day. And I think there was another report came in. Oh, it sounds like a nice day in Gamia. Good morning to Lester and Lisa. And we'll leave you with your very nice days if you've got them, and we'll be back tomorrow. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, and the frequencies are all yours.